wilderness, the shack with his beloved pig. Find troubles for a young entrepreneur named Amir, played by Alex Wolff. When Rob's pig is stolen in the middle of the night by tweakers, Rob must return to his past life in Portland to track her down and get her back in a vaguely John Wick-style thriller. At least that's what it's about on the surface. In reality, it's a deep allegory about the ways we deal with, or avoid, loss and grief. Nicolas Cage was lauded for his emotional and understated performance, which isn't always something he's known for.
Someone's trying to kill me, man! The fucking hangers!
Anyway, before I introduce the panel, let me say, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Also, we are now monetized, so if you have any pressing questions during this live show, send us a super chat, and we are absolutely obligated by international law, human rights law, to answer it. Okay, let's introduce the panel. We have Conan Neutron, host of Protonic Reversal, and the frontman for Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends, which is about to start touring next week. They're going to cities across the West Coast, including Las Vegas, multiple cities in California, including Oakland, Conan's hometown, Portland, where this movie takes place, Seattle, which apparently they do not like in this, if you watch it, Missoula, Casper, and Denver. They have a bunch of bands playing with them, including McCluskey and the LA punk band Weirdos. Conan also has a new album on Bandcamp called Action Chief, just the solos. Jay Enterworld, illustrator, book cover artist, comic designer, and artist for Give Them the Argument, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, and Bad Takes. And finally, Ross Hurt. He is a self-described tone thrower in burial waves, hosts the Rigs of Dad podcast with past guest Ian Miller, and runs a super popular Rigs of Dad Instagram page. Okay.
Okay. You're muted.
Oh, okay, indeed. Yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, now what?
Hey.
Oh, it ends. Okay, it ends.
Hey.
Cool. All right.
Okay, I'm muted. Hi, Forrest Miller here. Muted man. The man who's been
Okay.
silenced. The man who's been canceled. Okay.
Exactly. It's out of
Self-cancellation.
control.
Yes.
This cancel culture is out of control. Well done. That was very professional sounding. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled because at the intro of my podcast, whenever I do a movie episode, I also include clips from the movie Deadfall, starring Nicolas Cage, and I noticed that you threw some of those in. So
I
big fan.
went through the entire Nicolas Cage freaking out montage, and I just picked the one that was most likely not going to get flagged, and I was right, I guess.
That's your choice of curation is which one won't get flagged.
And here I thought that was Ross's contract to have that in there.
Deadfall sound bites. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very specific. He'll walk. He's serious business.
Well, thank you for having
the
me.
bottom in the fine print, and you have to check these contracts.
Yeah, they're
Because
really
they
long
find out at the last
captions. They're really
Yeah.
long captions. That's part of the deal. I bury a lot of contractual information at the bottom of my maximum limit captions that people complain about all the time.
Well,
You just want to see if people are paying attention. It's like
Exactly.
the Van Halen writer move.
Yeah,
That's the
Brown
Apple and the
M&Ms.
Pigs of Dad, like
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
the Apple part of the contract.
Holy crap. How did I not notice that? Wow. Okay. My active reading skills need work. That's amazing. Yeah, thanks for throwing all the tour dates up there too. And you asked me earlier, Mike, are you gonna say them on air? Like that's gonna take like as long as the plugs.
Well, it took longer than the plugs to it was a 9-minute
put that together, yeah.
video. Yeah. But I was not gonna read that live, and I wasn't gonna I don't know. I like to just get through it. So I was like, the best way to get through that entire thing is just to read it beforehand. Yeah. And I also thought of at the last minute doing the throwing in Nicolas Cage freaking out clips, and I was like, how can I incorporate that somehow and not do it so that I have to because it's so awkward to try to get it and then do it and then be like, hey, look at this bit, and then yeah.
Right. Hey, Ross, I'm trying to remember. It didn't start on Instagram. Did it start on Instagram, Rigs of Dad? I think I saw the memes first, disassociated from any platform, but I'm trying to remember how I actually first saw it. It was when you first started it.
Oh yeah. Man, was that 2016 or something like that? It started as Instagram. It started as a joke text thread
Oh yeah.
That was just kind of going back and forth between like me and two of my buddies, and then I quickly sort of ran wild with like, all right, I'm setting up an Instagram page that is essentially Rigs of Doom, which I love, and Andrew is a total sweetheart, and I was always a fan of that page, and then I was like, oh, I'll just do Rigs of Dad, and it's just glamorizing man caves with Marshall fridge amps and like all that shit, and it I don't know how it like turned into what it is, but it kind of spun out of control at one point.
I have like friends separate from this podcast that I noticed follow Rigs of Dad like as an Instagram page that have so I like, because I always look at like who follows the same, you know, like when we're having someone on, and when we had Ian on, I looked and I was like, oh shit, like actually a few people I know actually are like in the large number of people here.
Well, and it's great. It has life of its own. Like I've seen them sort of be shared back to me. I'm like, I know who that is. Yeah, I know it's great. And they're like, isn't it funny? Yeah, it's like, yeah, it sure is. Do you follow the page? There's a page. No, it came out. It exploded from the head of Zeus, fully formed. Yes, there's a page. What did you think happened? Where do you think memes come from, son? Anyway,
I thought it was just a rig and some dads. I didn't know that there was a whole, it was a whole thing.
It was like branding. It was like Convoy, except with dads.
Yeah, there was a weird moment. I think the big one was, there's a couple of the viral meme ones. The main one, the one that I remember first was when Maroon 5 played the Super Bowl. I photoshopped the tattoo of the Epiphone headstock on his rib cage, and I posted that. And then people started texting that to me, like, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, yeah, I made it. They're like,
I guess
bullshit.
I have.
And I would screen record me moving the like piece around where it's like, yeah, I literally made this. They're like, no fucking way, man. Like, I could curse on here, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Nicolas Cage already did. He kind of, broke it down for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. Yeah. Nicolas Cage rolled out the fuck rud carpet, so you're good.
Cool. All right.
I try not to from personal choice, but then the more I drink,
how's that going?
So terribly,
Yeah.
fucking terrible, one might say. Yeah, I keep it out of the lyrics. That I can do, but yeah, conversation, especially when I get worked up. Like say when we, talk about the royalty.
Oh, is there royal family news? I haven't.
I've been offline. I've been real busy with tour prep. Yeah, I hadn't noticed.
I've been real busy reading cities for the last 2 days. I've just been reading the names of cities on the West Coast. I haven't. It's been 48 hours since I even looked at anything besides a map of the West Coast.
Yeah, I know. You're still producing that bit.
Yeah.
the clip from the last after party, certainly is doing its rounds on Black Twitter right now.
On Black Twitter.
Yes.
Is this a joke?
No.
Is that real?
That is real.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
well, you're not. You're
as a white person, I guess you wouldn't, would you?
Wait, they've
game, set, and match.
Yeah, I have a little inroads to it. So, growing up in Georgia, I got I've been invited to the barbecue.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
They never invited him again, of course.
No.
Everybody, Andy has black friends. It's important for you to know that. Anyway, hey, this movie's awesome, man. I love Pig. Pig. Is there any movie quite like this? Like I was trying to think about it. It kind of runs such an interesting, unique line. And to me, it's people focus on John Wick for chefs and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it's about loss. That's the big thing. This is about like loss and grieving and moving on or not moving on, as the case may be.
Or does he? Does he come to some kind of terms where he's starting to move on?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's some of the question. But this movie blew me away, man. Like when I saw that, I was like, all right, Nicolas Cage getting up to hijinks. I don't know what's he up to now. There's a pig involved. All right.
Because I think I first watched this back to back with the one he did where he went to the Chuck E. Cheese to fight the animatronic robots.
Leaving Las Vegas. Yeah.
No, the other one.
Oh, okay. Willie's Wonderlander.
Yeah,
we're gonna need to narrow it down.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of fucking Chuck E. Cheese's getting in fights. Like that's a regular
he's banned.
Nicolas Cage occurrence.
Yeah. Him
No,
Vince
and
Neil.
that one, like it's an interesting performance in that one because he doesn't say any words.
Mhm.
He's literally like completely speechless in the movie. All he does is like drink soda, play pinball, and beat the crap out of animatronic, satanically possessed robots.
Sure.
But I can't think of another movie.
Chuck E. Cheese's. I mean, I'm just saying. Like,
I like the man to take us off track before Ross even got a chance to respond, though, Andy. You're rare for today.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I can't think of another movie that you said rug pull earlier, a movie that was that big of a rug pull as far as what the trailer was and what the actual movie that I saw was. I was completely pleasantly surprised because it was cannon fodder for like, are they really trying to do a Nicolas Cage John Wick, but it's a pig instead of a dog?
pig.
And it was the laughing stock of like Nick Cage is just as crazy as ever, and then it ends up being one of the most beautiful, impactful movies I've seen in God knows how long.
It was like on the verge of being like Morbius.
Yeah. It was memed before. Don't judge a movie by the meme, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
and the funniest part about the whole thing is that he produced it. Like this is a project that he actually found the financing for because it's a first time director. He made the connections. He like, and I'll pull up the clip at some point, but he's talking about John Krasinski, who now I guess the same director that directed this, he's having direct Quiet Place 3 or something like that, like the one that he's not directing.
Spoiler alert, it's still quiet.
Yep.
And it's still I wonder if it'll be down the road this time again.
I was gonna say maybe you can get a cameo. They filmed that down the street from where he lives. Ross,
they filmed some of it, but the last two movies they've gone to the bridge.
Well, you're taking enough pictures on that bridge. I would think that all of it would be there. But anyway,
The entire movie's on the bridge, right?
So he's got
not a bridge, really.
John Krasinski and Nicolas Cage, I guess, are really close friends. And so he interviewed the cast for like a big publication and then hired the director because the movie emotionally resonated first with Nicolas Cage and then like emotionally resonated with John Krasinski to the point where he was like crying in the theater while watching it. And so he hired him like right off the bat as a second movie to do the third Quiet Place installment.
It makes sense that they're friends because in the comic books, Ghost Rider is a part of the new Fantastic Four along with Wolverine and the Hulk. So,
there is. I might remember for the after party, but there's not going to be a better time to mention that Chris, who does our tour posters, first of all, made this awesome tour poster for McCluskey dates that we're going to sell for money to people.
It is beautiful,
really cool. He's also a comic
capitalist
artist.
Conan over here. Selling.
Oh, nice.
Check out. He did like one of those like movie style posters for the Dark Phoenix saga for the comic.
Yeah, that's actually really awesome.
Oh, that's great. The old vintage one. That's great.
Super vintage. Like
the little
what is
badge
it? Yeah. Grand Design. Thank you.
Yep,
Like the Pisker thing. What's it called? We've talked about it like 50 times, but yeah, like I got that as like a surprise with my, oh my God, is everything going to arrive in time? Like, and I'm like, oh, how cute. Anyway,
by the way, someone has something in the background that's going like I've noticed.
Is it me?
No, I think it might be Ross. It's just
I have a lot of noise making devices back here, but none of them are on. That
I don't have anything on.
All right, I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
Thing.
Wait.
Let me hold on.
Where's the noise coming from? That's band meme 666. That's a different meme page entirely. That's his whole thing. Where's the noise coming from? And you see this, they're like checking the pedal chain.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't think it's me because I still hear it when I mute.
Yeah.
It's a rival meme page.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's Ross.
Yeah.
It's
First of all, how dare you? Secondly, get a noise gate. Everyone knows that.
I literally wouldn't really care except that it's like it sounds almost like a robot like singing, so I could keep getting distracted.
It's like Twiggy from Buck Rogers.
Is that better?
No, I still hear it.
Yeah, I have no idea what that could be. It could just be house noise, but
all right. Well, it's
some sort of
I'm just imagining that Twiggy's like sitting at a couch across from you while you're podcasting.
I'm envisioning one of Ross's memes come to life that is just advising him get a compressor pedal.
I don't know. It sounds almost like the Aqua Boogie, that like the voice in the background was like.
That's so weird. Like,
When we were
I lo-
staying in Louisville, the fan in the room I was staying in, it wasn't properly mounted, so it kind of bounced around a little bit, and it bounced out to a rhythm that I later figured out while I was attempting to sleep was doot 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 doot. So I was like, why do I have Funky Town in my head? I'm like, oh, it's the fan. But nobody believed me. Then I turned it on. I'm like, listen,
Let me take
Funky
you
Town.
down to Funky Fan. Anyway,
Did you see somebody took the lyrics to Closer and put it on Funky Town?
I did not see that.
Oh, was it Funky Town? I know exactly what you're talking about. They show like the musical notes of like the stems of the song.
No, they actually did like a whole video where it's just like, let me take you to closer to God.
This is
Oh,
after
it's a
party material.
mashup. Yeah, this is absolutely after party material.
This is straight up after party material.
I'm throwing an audible. I was just stalling till we can find out what the source of the noise was, which again is.
All right, so I have this fun clip to play for
Get us
everybody.
back on track because I'm off it.
We'll talk about meme page rivalries later in the after party.
I like working with Brandy. Brandy? Yeah. Brandy was very payment oriented. She liked to eat. I never got to act with the pig, no.
Wasn't in contact, like you thought of the
Back plenty of them in the past, so it's a chance to try something different.
Pig was 100% real pig, not even an acting pig. We actually could not afford an acting pig, so we just
an acting pig.
well, like a trained pig. There are trained acting pigs.
The pig is nice. I'd say the pig wasn't. I love animals.
You being pig phobic right now?
No,
You're being pig phobic.
no. Let the record show. I love pig. This pig was a bit of a Hollywood pig.
I met the pig, but I didn't get to act exactly with a pig.
We just found one on a farm and said, "You are adorable and have a great personality. Would you like to be in our movie?" And she said, "Oink," and so we went with it.
I steal the pig. It's in a sack, so we couldn't put the pig in a sack.
Good. That's good. You didn't do that.
Brandy was the main pig and was kind of a diva, but it was okay. We got past it. Here's the thing. Brandy liked it when people played hard to get. Everybody would try and be friends with Brandy, and she scoffed. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to do anything with this pig. And the pig ended up liking me, so that's my style.
If I needed to get her to go and hit her marks, some food would be put down. If I needed a soulful expression, I put some camera behind, a carrot behind the camera, and she would look at the carrot and was surprised with blood.
You were her acting coach.
It was her, yeah. The carrot made her look at me with love.
It is becoming a problem. People are getting mad that I'm talking shit about Brandy, but at the same time, it's like, come on, Brandy.
Because you know what? Who's talking for Brandon? Who's talking for Brandon?
You are roasting me.
Roasting, really? 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 You're going to use the word roasting?
I'm so sorry. You're sizzling, or you're baking. I can't. I'm sorry.
You know what? This is a really meaty conversation.
Put me in the
You've got beef with Brandon.
Sometimes I'm tough on this show for kind of, going on the raise we go. And then I look at something like that. I'm like, we're fine.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
we're at least entertaining. Half our joke demand.
I feel like they were making that eye contact. They might have hooked up after that. I don't know. They were really getting into that vibe.
they really seem to be having a good time up there, as we say in the biz. Saw you up there. Looks like you were having a great time. That's what you say when you don't think a band's any good.
It made me want to see a Nicolas Cage type of movie like the unbearable weight of massive talent, but where Nicolas Cage is out with the pig.
There you go.
Yeah, it'd be like
I haven't watched
both
that.
movies.
Is that
It's
good?
good.
It's fun.
I watched it. I watched it on the plane, and I thought that was a perfect watching a movie on a plane sort of movie.
All right.
It's a plane watch. Yeah, it's a plane watch.
If I went to the theater, I would have been like, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the depths that this does, but it is still a fun watch. It's got some really funny moments, and it's definitely worth your time. But beyond that,
was it kind of capitalizing on the fact that this movie was pretty successful? Like, because they were filmed back to back, right? Like this is like the Nicolas Cage comeback moment.
I mean, I guess it's the Nicolas Cage of it all, but other than that, I didn't really feel like the one was overly referential or anything.
Yeah, like there was the reconnaissance like a couple years ago, like when he did was it Mud, and then like people were like, oh, like Dallas Buyers Club, it's the reconnaissance, he's back, and I've been calling like I called it the
True Detective. Right?
I called it the Reeve-formation era when Keanu Reeves was having his comeback with John Wick and stuff, and I've been calling the recent Nick Cage one the Cage of Enlightenment, because it's like it kind of started with me with Mandy. And then, like, Pig is obviously phenomenal, but the unbearable weight of massive talent seemed to be riding on. It was kind of like the spectacle of the Cage of Enlightenment for me, but it's another one of those rug pull. The trailer was like, oh, this could be really great, and then I saw it, I was like, this is kind of just like Mrs. Doubtfire, like it had like Mrs. Doubtfire energy, so it really lost me and took me out of it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help that that Nicolas Cage spent most of the time in drag with a British accent. So
yeah.
That was the most surprising part to me. But yeah, I mean, like, I think it was like 2 clicks away from being a great movie, but it was an enjoyable movie.
Mm.
Is how I would put it, without invoking Mrs. Doubtfire. But you know,
let me hear someone do a Nicolas Cage, older woman British accent.
Oh, that I'm terrible with
impersonations. That's Patreon content if you want to hear me attempt that.
Yeah. Let's save that for the Patreon. We could also pretend like we're the Queen as Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. See, well, I'll tell the joke in the. I had a joke formulated, but I'll tell it in the after party. That's similar to that. But yeah.
Is it because Christina isn't here? Why are we having a harder time staying on topic than normal?
I guess I wouldn't have expected that was going to be the reason, because she seems to get us off topic just as much as anyone.
And she got pigged today. I mean, she was kidnapped by animals.
It's why she's not with us. We call that a reverse pig. Actually.
Yes.
I mean, all right.
So
I like the. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I wanted to start at the beginning with this because this is this guy's directorial debut.
Isn't that crazy?
So I have him explaining where he got the idea from it, and I felt like that would be an interesting place to start the conversation. Of course, then we started the conversation, and it's been 23 minutes. But yeah,
it do be like that sometimes.
But this is cool. This is the interview they did with John Krasinski. I don't know why I can't say that, but I can't.
It's your first movie out of the gates. And I don't mean this with any condescension, Michael. I hope it is all the jealousy that is intended to come out in my question. Is how the hell do you say, all right, I'm going to direct my first movie. How do you sit down, Vanessa, how do you guys both sit down and come up with this story? It had to be somewhat personal, somewhat spiritual. There was something going on for you guys to say, this is the story I want to tell, and the particulars of it. So I would love to know where that comes from.
I mean, I think there were stages to it. Michael, maybe you can speak to kind of the initial inception, and then we can talk about how that evolved into all the trips we took and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it started, Vanessa had directed a documentary some years back. And after that, that's when we kind of, that was our first real step into the industry. And we knew we wanted to move into fiction film. And so it was just a question of kind of hunkering down and writing something that could be made on a small enough scale. And I had this little like notepad document on my computer where I keep some ideas. And I had a little idea that was just a man in the woods with his truffle pig. That had been in there for, I think, a couple of years. And finally I was like, let's unpack that and see why that seems meaningful to me. And then it was just, kind of a question of thinking about that, asking questions about that, talking with Vanessa about it. His history and the kind of world that he lived in quickly became apparent. The fact that food needed to be a part of it, the fact that Portland needed to be a part of it. And then I think I was kind of at a place in my life where I had lost my dad when I was a kid, and I was in my late 20s and kind of starting to process that grief in a different way and seeing how it had sort of shaped my life and the lives of my family members, and kind of seen into this story as well, and being kind of looked at how grief sort of builds up walls around different people in different ways. So all that kind of swirled together, and then it was a question of just making it, which Vanessa can probably explain.
Well, just even just prior to all of the trips that we took to Portland, where we really dug into the authenticity of the food scene and just this incredible naturalism of Portland, the texture of the space, just both within the restaurant scene, the scenic scene, I mean, just literally the forests there are incredibly primordial, beautiful. There's a sense of realms in Oregon. Like there's such a diversity of landscape and texture there that it's so sort of right visually and cinematically. But prior to that, I think it was always the thematic intention that kind of drove the process for us. And I think in a way, John, even for you, you said you burst into tears in that moment. So much of that, I think, is rooted in what the initial intention of the film was, which was to tell this very true meditation on loss and trauma. And Michael and I always envisioned this film almost as a triptych, I think. We have sort of the three characters, Alex, we have Nick, who played Rob, and then Adam Arkin the third in this kind of trifecta, playing Darius the father, and each one representing a very different but very human response to loss. So you have sort of the nihilistic solipsism of Nick's character Rob. You have kind of the sadism in a way of Adam Arkin's character, and then you have what feels almost a version of masochism of Amir. And so we always saw those three as being their own kind of portrait, and then our job was to weave that together into something compelling and meaningful.
I was wondering who died. I mean, I'm glad that question was answered because that's what I was going into that clip for. Is like, who died? Okay, it was his father. Oh, it was a long time ago. Oh, interesting. This is good stuff.
Well, I mean, and I don't think it was that long ago because I think he's only in his like late 20s or something. So, but it was like a long enough time ago. Obviously, that was before he came up with this idea. But it's interesting to kind of find catharsis through your own art, and then the art in itself is a story about catharsis. I think that's kind of a fascinating way to go into it because I don't know, like as someone that's tried to write screenplays, like it's really hard to like how much of yourself do you put into it? How much of what you're going through? Like it has to have some kind of like truth at the center of it of something you're going through. Like you can't unless you're like really, really good at writing to the point where you're like Barton Fink who can write about shit that like he has no idea about. You know, like,
give you that Barton Fink feeling. Exactly. Well, but it's like loss that touches everyone. Right. I mean, we've talked about it both on and off air. I mean, I think there's been like a 6 or 7 month period in the last 2.5 years that I haven't lost someone. And it's all been like people very close to me. And, you know, that doesn't make me unique or special. In fact, as you get older, that happens more and more. But, you know, who can't relate to that? And that not everybody grieves the same way. And sometimes there's certain types of freakouts that can happen, like, say, going feral with your pig and just going off grid because just the weight of it all is just something you don't want to deal with.
Which is also a very, I think, West Coast Portland kind of thing too. Like he's, you know, like to be aware enough to have gone through like that restaurant scene and like kind of be like kind of cool, but at the same time be like, you know what, I'm becoming a prepper and I'm gonna go into the woods with my pig right now, and you're never gonna see me for 15 years. Like I feel like only in like the Northeast or the Northwest United States is that like a thing that you can really actually get away with.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead.
Two things that struck me. One, I love how the producer, the director, John Krasinski, all have like office background, and Nicolas Cage has like the vampire layer. Like,
but yeah, he's hanging out like he's lamping in the vampire. The club scene from Blade or something.
Yeah, I love that little vibe. But the thing that like I read from the director, obviously like what you're saying, you inject certain parts of your personality because it's easy to relate to something. There's been such a wave of films that are quote unquote meditations on over the past couple of years. Like Meditation on Grief is like the one that I think we've been seeing the most of probably since 2020, which totally makes sense. I think since 2016, everything that people have been unpacking, that makes sense. But oddly enough, I read that the director, the main nugget of like inception of this thing was he was reading about truffle pigs, and that the owners of the truffle pig, that what they would do is they would actually sit on their porch all night with a gun waiting because people would always try and steal their truffle pigs. And that was the kind of John Wick, revenge plot, vehicle that launched this whole thing. And then it turned into kind of a meditation of grief, being an outcast, being beat down by this industry. And the food scene anywhere is cutthroat and competitive, but like Portland in particular seems to be almost like the kind of not the arrogance of like the super snobby parts of restaurants and stuff like that, but it's just on the fringes of that sort of thing. So
well, it's like a very, I mean, it's like a vibes based economy almost. You know what I mean? Like you go there and you want to experience something new. Like like hipsters go there. Like I've never been to Portland. I've been up to like Oregon, but only as like a tiny kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't remember the experience of going there. But like I have friends that have gone there that have like acted like they're going to that like to that part of the United States to like find like hipster Mecca almost. Like
I lived there for a little bit, and I lived in Portland, and there's actually like quite a few spots that they go to
that are in there.
Movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
Almost like Sorry to Bother You for like Ian and I, where it's like, oh, that's Oakland.
Exactly.
That's there. I've been there. Used to live there.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't, Ross. I didn't know what your background was with it, because I was just going to assume that I have had the most experience in Portland, because I played there like a million times over the years, and like seeing,
including coming up on,
including coming up in a couple weeks. But that also includes like watching the Portlandification of Portland, and then also a lot of people don't remember when there used for a while there was a fleeing away of Bay Area, San Francisco especially, and the people that went to Portland. It was indicative of a certain type of person. Is the most diplomatic way that I will say that. But the people that like went to Portland because people got sick of their crap in San Francisco, but it also was a place of opportunity for kind of we talk about single origin or what is it, organically grown, like whatever all the buzzwords are, like that. It has become a joke, but that was something that Portland, especially amongst all the Pacific Northwest, really, really latched onto, which is why it's so great. There's the scene where he goes to the restaurant to get the information, and he talks to his old the guy that used to work for him that he fired.
Oh, Eurydice, yeah, the Eurydice scene.
And like to watch that guy, like realize who he is, and it has that kind of yeah, and then he still has the fake smile going, and Nicolas Cage is like just eviscerates him with truth, like utterly, and like it's just like he's being disemboweled by the truth, and still like yeah, I kind of want to do an English pub, and like it's so amazing because it's like you see like have you ever seen a person do that? I mean, obviously not that dramatically, but it's such a rare thing to be able to get. And the performance is so compelling because of that. And it's like, it's not even like that's his raison d'etre. He literally just wants to get the information. And it happens to be like, oh, also let me throw a truth bomb at you. Boom.
Or like, he's like, I happen to recognize this guy because I can kind of break this guy, I think, because it was a guy he like,
because he wants, because he in where he's at, he asks nicely a couple times. He's consistent but not dickish about it, and then like he refuses to engage with him on that level. So he's like, okay, let's do this then, because I'm not doing this to hurt you, but like fine, I need to get this information, and I'm going to like basically do the equivalent of a John Wick but verbally.
Well,
I did it with Andre John Wick.
I think that's one of the big themes about the movie as a whole. In terms of just the way the interactions between all the characters, it's you'd expect that scene to be he's going to beat the shit out of this guy to get the information stuff, and the stuff he's saying isn't necessarily like he's I'm telling you this and I'm telling you this and everything of this sort. They're listening, and like I think that's what the big thing with this whole movie is to process your grief, to process loss, or whether it's a loss of passion in the case of the chef from Eurydice, like Nicolas Cage isn't telling him anything. He's making the guy tell Nicolas Cage, Robin, tell me what's happening. And I say pretty often, one of my techniques where I used to deal with drunk people at the bar was I would just let them talk to me and then just repeat back to them, like in an empathetic way, what they're saying to me. And they would eventually realize, Jesus Christ, I sound like an idiot right now. And that's kind of what he's sort of doing. Just like you gave up on your dreams. What were your dreams? I wanted to do this. And why'd you give up on that? And it's very therapeutic. And you see that not just in this scene, and not to jump too far ahead or anything like that, but you see that at the end with Darius, with Amir's dad. Like it's they're talking to each other and they're listening. And there's even the moment of just like, were you always like this? And it's like, were you? Like,
that line really actually hit me hard last night when I was watching it. When he's like, he goes, "Were you?" And then he's silent about it.
Right.
And
because Nemesis and heroes are often almost the same people.
Yep.
You know, like they're almost identical beings. And I think that the chef at Eurydice could have been Robin at one point. And I think Robin sees himself in that because he taught him, you know.
And there's a I'm gonna play this clip of them explaining shooting that scene, but there's a moment in that scene that I noticed that I haven't like seen anybody comment on like online or something, where they hold the glasses right before he drinks the glass of wine completely. They hold the glass in the same way, and they do it as a shot, like a mirror, as if he's looking into a mirror, and this is another version of himself. You know what I mean? Like himself 15 years ago that's about to collapse, because obviously I think, at least my reading of it, right? Like you have to project your own read into some of the stuff because they don't really explain it that well. But my read would be that his collapse or whatever in Portland came after obviously his wife died, and he realized how hollow the entire restaurant industry has to be, right? Like, so when he's talking to this guy and he's like, that line where he's like, we don't get a lot of things to really care about, like, he's talking to him in a way that he's like, the one thing that I do care about, that I figured out that I do, is this pig and this life for myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm finding it, but like it's almost like he's talking to himself in a mirror 15 years ago, returning to the past, I think. So this is a conversation where they're talking
that
about
scene, and that line is where I knew, like, okay, this is some real shit. Real shit is happening right now.
Yeah,
this is cinema right happening.
Scene, or the Chef Finway scene, this takes place at this restaurant called Eurydice, and I mean that scene was like 10 pages in the script, and it was one of those scenes that you know, it was kind of, if we could make that scene work, we thought we could make the rest of the movie work. And we shot it, we had one day to shoot it. We kind of shot it like a little play. We pretty much did it in one long chunk and just ran it multiple times, and the actors just did such an incredible job that they were willing and able to kind of keep that energy up. And then that was one of the first scenes that the editor Brett cut together, and it was like we could watch that and say, okay, this scene actually in the edit is playing and it's really powerful. If we can pull this off, then I think the rest of the movie is going to be okay. So it was one of those, you know, it was sort of a linchpin scene of the whole film in a lot of ways, and it's also kind of like a microcosm of the whole movie. It goes through a lot of the humor and sadness and somberness and identity stuff that kind of is.
And on this restaurant called Sauce Box, and it was bordered by all of these windows, so you could really, like, the light from outside was a strong presence in the scene, and everyone was kind of relieved, where it was like, okay, finally we could just stay in one space. We're like indoors for the day. We have one day where we don't have to move around. And I was expressing that to Pat, and he was a little hurt, because he was like, yeah, we didn't move around, but this was actually one of the most challenging days for the camera department, because we were tasked to make the scene look like it took place within 10 minutes, even though we were shooting over the course of an entire day. So remember, the natural light was changing every moment. And so they were scrambling to make it look like a seamless, continuous scene, which was an enormous task and one of the most challenging for that department in the entire shoot. So it was this really beautiful kind of look into how I think it's really important when making a film, you really understand the machinations of every single department and what it takes, what goes into making a moment like that may look from the outside so seamless, but it really takes the efforts of so many people working so hard. So it was just a really kind of special moment of education, I think, for me, even, you know, of just sort of looking behind the curtain and seeing what it really takes to accomplish something like that.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like that she's the more experienced one, and it seems like she's worked on like a couple documentaries. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he's obviously it's his first time, so she's the one that has to like take charge and be like, I really learned though on the set that like,
yeah,
like I think you both do something, like you just started doing this, which is cool. Like,
because
really
they wrote it together, right? If I remember correctly, like Vanessa Block, they wrote it together. But yeah, it is. Well, it's like Booksmart. Right? Like, how self-assured is that movie? It's like, that was her first movie? Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
I mean, I actually have written on here that this is like around this time, the amount of directorial debuts, especially by women, is astounding. How awesome the output is. Like Rose Glass for Saint Maud.
Saint Maud, yeah.
I forget the woman's name who directed Censor, which is another very cool one. Like, these people just did shorts. They did like a couple videos here or there, and to have, like, I don't know if it was total final cut or anything like that, but like these are very niche movies that like are not accessible to a lot of people, and they're to dorks like us, magic. And thank God,
Catnip.
like
Catnip,
they did not
yeah.
have like Jerry Bruckheimer coming in and being like, here's how we're gonna fix this thing. Like
we're gonna zazz it up with some explosions. All right,
exactly. Yeah.
That's what this movie did.
Also,
And
like
the
what-
budget-
Nicolas Cage running with a pig and an explosion behind him.
That's kind of what I thought it was gonna be. Honestly, when I'm like, all right, I'm into it.
gender
And I was like,
reveal
oh,
party
no, it's-
style.
Yes.
I
Cerebral
think I read earlier the budget. Yeah, the budget was $4 million. That's not. That's barely anything to make
For
a
a movie that
Like,
is.
They couldn't afford one explosion without $4 million.
But like, I guess we've
Explosion.
got to have some kind of emotional catharsis. Like, we can't afford to just have
Yeah,
them blow
that's
up
cheap.
Portland at the end of it.
Yeah, we can afford emotional catharsis.
I mean, the one other thing about this scene that like this scene, like the director said, it for me, it's the linchpin of the movie. It is, the performances are just insane. But like
So good.
the fact that the small stuff, the mythological like references, like calling it Eurydice, the fact that Eurydice was the wife that had passed away, that Orpheus tried to bring back from the dead by going to the river Styx and stuff like that. It is a hero's journey in that sort of way. And when I think of just like the fact that they're both trying to bring something back, the chef sits down and looks at Robin and goes, I thought you were, and then stops himself before he says, I thought you were dead. But he's looking at a guy who is still wearing open wounds on his face. And
Who's
stuff like
literally bleeding from his face.
it's such a great fucking choice to be like, I just got beat up by the industry that beat me into hiding. And now I'm going to walk around and fucking wear it to show these people that this is what you're in for. If you're not in it for the passion, what are you doing this for? It's fun. It's such a
and there's
beautiful movie.
the moment, and I'm proud of Nicolas Cage for being able to pull this off, because it's, I don't know if I would have expected that he would have pulled this specific line off as well as he did when he goes it's almost like Nick Offerman-esque when he's like the guy's like, do you need medical attention? He just goes, no, and then goes back to what he's doing. Like,
Right,
he didn't
like
that line takes such an understated, like, I'm here to get my pig back. I don't give a fuck about like what's going on with you necessarily. Like, obviously I'm going to give you advice, but like, I don't care enough to like need medical attention. Like, I'm trying to get this pig right now and you're not listening to me.
It's not his top priority right then. Well, and I we'd be remiss not to allow Andy the floor here to talk about the Chef Fight Club
Yes.
thing, because it was a direct result of the Chef Fight Club.
Which I'm sorry, I'm like obsessed with that concept. I want the spin-off film. I want Gordon Ramsay to show up and have like special powers. I got it all worked out in my head.
Real chefs wouldn't be able to not hit back because of all the cocaine they do. Like, I know so many fucking chefs. I've worked at restaurants. Like, I can't see any of the chefs that I've known getting punched in the face and not just being like going into full fucking coke rage.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so much anger in those professional kitchens. Like a Fight Club makes sense. How else are they going to blow off some steam? What, bake a souffle or punch the dude's lights out? I don't know.
Yeah,
go either way.
Actually, shout out to one of the like first chefs I worked at during college. He's turned he stopped to be like being a chef full time and turned it into a Twitch following. So good on him for that. I actually see him out sometimes, and we talk about streaming whenever I see him.
It's a true success story by any metric.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ross.
The thing I love about that scene in particular, for so many reasons, is I've worked every aspect of restaurants and bars for 2 decades of my life, and I don't miss it, but like at the same time, I still have a fondness for it that is like, man, I could totally go back and do it this way if it was my way. But there's one thing that I always said to servers that got cocky or confident, and it was if they were like, oh, I'll get the whole order from the table without writing it down, and then they send it to the kitchen. And we're not a fine dining restaurant, so I go up and be like, don't ever do that again. They're like, but I memorize it. I was like, I don't give a shit if you memorize it, because you send it to the kitchen and the kitchen fucks it up, even though you did everything right. Who are they going to blame? Are they going to blame the kitchen, or are they going to blame the server? So there's always this like weird, unspoken, sometimes very verbal and spoken tension between front of house and back of house, the servers, the bartenders, and the kitchen staff. Chef shout out.
That's a new spinoff, actually. It just shouts out chefs.
But to have a fight club where it's front of house people literally beating on the chefs or anything of the sorts, and like to have an outlet of aggression where it's these people that are literally being beat up by Karens of every sort. I'm not sure if that term has been canceled yet, but Karens of like restaurant
evergreen.
It's the new. It's
the
new
K
N-word,
hive,
actually.
actually tries to say it's the new N word, but
Call
Yeah.
them the K hive.
But restaurant people get shit on nonstop, man. Like front of house, back of house, they get shit on. So to have an outlet to take those frustrations out, it's almost like it
probably should exist. Yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
You know?
yeah.
it doesn't. We're starting one in in this basement right now.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
Well, I think that in this, it's not a chef fight club. It's the the customers get to beat them up, and it's how long that they can last. From what I've read, like it's supposed to be how long they can last getting beat up. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was front of house beating up.
That's
like
I thought exactly
people.
the same.
What I read is that it's how long that they take money for how long, and it gives them the same conversation with value. Like, what's your value, right? Like your value.
Oh, so how long you can take it
can survive in this industry? Yeah.
That part I got.
And also just for the you get money out of it, right? Like it's blatantly transactional. So it's like you get the shit beat out of you for a certain amount of time. You can sit there and you can just take it, and then you get the money. And it's like, how much is your value? I thought that's the question that he was asking. That's why he didn't hit him back, right? Like, because you would expect that if it was a fight club, he would have gotten up. I think it's how long you can last getting beat up by these customers.
Very much so. And is the money worth it? Yeah. And the other thing to note, like living in Portland, the restaurant they cross through to get down there is Huber's, which is like really good if you want like Spanish coffee. They're famous for their Spanish coffee or whatever. It's like just crazy high alcohol coffee that they do a whole presentation for. You should watch a YouTube clip of them making the coffee. It's pretty insane. But underneath Portland and I think the Huber's area, but definitely like Shanghai Tunnel for sure, there's a tunnel system all under Portland, Oregon that not a lot of people know about. And it all kind of meets up in that area of town. So like, I was kind of like, oh, that's the fucking tunnels. Like that's awesome. I love it.
It's just like, I mean, they got the same thing in LA, which is the least likely place you think could be. The only movie I've ever seen even like sort of allude to it is Under the Silver Lake. And it's sort of like more,
David Yao's lair.
Stylized, yeah, exactly. The lair of the Yao, yeah.
and then you only got to be on that for the first door of the underground.
Right, exactly. But it really does exist. And on an off day of recording, Tony and I went down into it. It was pretty sick, and I was like, hell yeah, this is a good off day to like just be running around like secret tunnels. Like it looks like Big Trouble in Little China or something. It's like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Anyway, thank you. That's a story about tunnels. So I think that it's key though to understanding like how all these guys operate, and it's largely guys, right? But like how they all deal with their vocation, how they I think which I've never thought about this, to be explicitly clear, I've not ever worked in service industry, not ever worked in a restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. I only worked one retail job was a record store, Tower Records, and it was like right out of high school for me. But I'm sensitive to it because you have to be, because in this world where people are absolutely horrific to anybody that like is having to serve another person in a customer service capacity of any sort. I think back to like that show, The Bear, that like recent Hulu show where like they make a special point of calling, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And it makes a special point of like everyone calls each other chef because it's a term of respect. So no matter how mad you get at each other, you're still respecting each other. And I was like, oh, interesting. That is interesting. That's something that like really got me thinking because it was like, yeah, if you're getting dissed all the time, like you only hear from someone if someone is like, Christ, what is it now? Like, oh, someone wants to talk to you. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Great. What now?
Yeah. The Bear is like Oz and Pig is like Shawshank Redemption or Green Mile in terms of just like the real gritty, harsh reality of it, and then the like mystical take on it.
Forrest, you know what to do. That's a clip. Where's the lie?
But going further into like this conversation about value, I think that his dad, Amir's dad, right, sees him as someone that can't make it in this industry, and he's like, he fucks him over to prove that he can't make it in the industry, pretty much. And then obviously, like, spoiler alert, turn it off if you haven't seen it. The pig gets mishandled by the junkies, but that's not his like intention. And it seems like value comes up in this film over and over again. And like the realization that, I mean, like even as far back as like the restaurant he goes to, and he's like, well, these people don't actually see you as people. They don't actually see you at all. Like this is just like kind of an aesthetic for them. Like they come in here and they want the food and they like, they enjoy the food in the moment. But if you're not doing something you love, it's hollow. Like all of this is hollow. And I feel like the Fight Club scene is the most I think on the nose representation of that.
Well, and you can apply it to other art forms too, right? Like you could do like some like hack work in almost anything. Like you'd be like a band that like plays like just like predictable, jive turkey music, and maybe make a lot of money at it. But are you an artist? Can you really respect yourself? You could be doing commercial art and just doing the hackiest BS possible, and like
you could be Blues Hammer, or you could be
you could be the Blues Hammer of your specific art form, and maybe it would pay well. And
the Blues Hammer at Portland restaurants.
And, yes, attractive women that you have nothing in common with, will eagerly extol your praises to see Buscemi. But it carries as an art form, and that's where I personally get the most engagement out of any food stuff. Is when it's treated as an art form. So I think when there's movies about art, I think the style of the art shouldn't have to matter if it's a good movie about art. And this is a movie about art. I mean, it's a movie about loss too, but this is a movie about art for sure.
Yeah, but there's the hold on, I'm gonna pull up the actual line that he says in it, because there is also like a phony component to what the art actually is, right? Like he confronts the chef, and he makes the chef explain the truffle the truffle situation to him. The deconstructed, yeah, that's what it is. I always forget that term because I don't want to learn what that is. But no, so he's talking to him in the actual in the restaurant, and he's like, well, we're interested in taking local ingredients native to this region and deconstructing them, making the familiar feel foreign, thereby giving us an even greater appreciation of food as a whole. And I feel like some of this is forced, right? Like,
yeah, jerk off motion. Yeah, all right, great, sounds awesome.
but I mean, it's kind of interesting, like the study of food as a thing in a restaurant, like making you appreciate it more. Like it doesn't. It does. You're getting like a very douchey experience out of it. But then you have something like later in the movie where he makes the meal that that Amir's father and mother had at that restaurant before she tried to take her life and then failed. And he cries from it, and you realize like it's the authentic emotional experience of this moment in a restaurant that you can't force with like this deconstructed phony study of food kind of thing. Like it has to be something that actually comes from a core emotional thing, and I feel like that's kind of almost like a metaphor for this movie in some ways. Like,
well, I think talking about art in particular, it's the same thing. That do you want the painting as a whole, or do you want the individual brushstrokes? All the brushstrokes are what make the painting. Do you want the full song and the full orchestration, or do you want just the guitar solo and shit like that? And
which you can get with Conan's new album.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do have a record called Just the Solos. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but like I think that's
part
of it.
Deconstructed.
Yeah, so it's like to see the care and everything that he puts into every component of the last dish. It is very pretentious, but it very much fits the MO of the end of the movie. That the denouement of like this big final showdown is kind of like, here is this meal, and it's the whole thing. It's like hearing a song live for the first time. I remember the first time I ever heard the song Columbus Avenue by Amy Mann live. I knew that song perfectly years before the album came out, because when I heard it live, I was like, that is a life-changing moment for me. I imagine that meal was the same sort of way, and to be able to have it recreated with the same passion, everything is just it's fucking.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
the
be sitting there and thinking about while he's taking care of his pig, while his life has kind of collapsed, every meal he's ever cooked, right? Like to remember it. Like I don't know if you guys have ever been in a kind of isolation for a while, where you start thinking back to stuff and you start really actually like considering. I went when I was younger, I got like sent to a school upstate, and like a lot of it was like very isolating. Like it was in Lake Placid or something, and you couldn't really go anywhere. So I had time to think about like every decision I ever made that I regretted, and every interaction I had before I went to this thing. It felt like you were almost in a time capsule. And I feel like Nicolas Cage's character in this is completely for 15 years, which this was for a year.
That's where he's like, a decade and a half is what he was doing.
Yeah.
Up there.
Right. And again, it's all about processing trauma, or processing that moment, and like understanding the grief that you were in, or anything like that. And like the one other thing like about Amir's dad, I love Adam Arkin, but like the one thing that like really stood out to me with that whole
too.
Yeah, he's great. He's great to hate.
He's
Really
great.
good and serious man too. But like
his dad is great to hate too. His dad brings back to that.
Dad.
Yeah.
But like the thing that I like
Chat's
is
killing it tonight. This is great.
They have all these interactions with Amir in particular, and even Robin, where they're on the other side of walls. They're outside of these walls. They're always framed in a certain way. Amir in particular is always on the outside of walls. And the thing that really stuck out to me is, again, like we're talking about art, like, do you really love this art? Are you really getting satisfaction of this? Do you really like listening to classical music, or do you just want to have the facade of enjoying classical music, and that's why you're listening to someone explain what you're supposed to like about classical music? Every small detail about that is fucking it blows.
The trappings in the style, man. Like that's like
every
that's
layer of this
so
movie
real.
is perfect.
Well, and they underline it when he's in the mirror and he's Amir, I guess I just realized that, but he's in the mirror and he's talking to himself and he's explaining like, well, you know, my truffles are fresh. My dad's have been in there for 3 days. If you want it, you can go to like the other like Katie or something like. They never explain who that is, but he's like, this is what I bring to the table. This is my value. I get fresh truffles.
Yeah. It's a script.
So yeah. So his dad's kind of stripped the one thing that he feels like is of value because he only sees his own self as almost transactional because his father is an asshole that sees people that way. But then you see him break down and you realize like this is an actual human being that just is also projecting this image of being intimidating when he's kind of collapsing in a different style of grief, I think.
Well, and going back to the source file, like the beginning of the movie where he's like still trying to like find out what's going on. He goes to the woman, like, took my pig, and like, what kind of pig? It's like truffle pig, and it's like, it's on, like it's like, and it's like, oh yeah, that's like, no, that's well over the line. That's like my personal disdain for anybody and everybody and my libertarian values that have led me to this place. No, this is
anarcho-primitivism, I think is what they call it.
That's the Sam Raimi
Anarcho-primitivism.
Right.
Anarcho-primitivism.
That's a Spider-Man Raimi. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us moment with the guy in the bridge, like throwing the something. Green Goblin's like, what the hell? Like, what? Who are you people? Like it's like that moment.
Territorial, right? She's like, you've been digging in my sights because
and then she makes it about herself. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like I love that. I love that scene so much. Like, because it's just like, well, do I care about this or do I not care? Oh, I care about this because it affects their bottom line.
But also, like, what kind of, like, in context though, like, what kind of pig? Like, is he going to be like my slaughter pig? Like, you know what I mean? Like
well, I don't care. That's your problem. It's not.
There's like, well, my truffle pig.
Whatever.
Oh fuck, that's where I get.
Well, because that's
truffle.
that's a livelihood, right? And like this is like, that's not like something they do for fun. That's like literally their livelihood. Then
but it's also not. It's a MacGuffin for the whole film because like it really is just about his love. It's about his replacement of, I'm assuming, is his wife, because at the end, I'm not saying he's fucking the pig, but like I'm saying that
he explicitly states he didn't, Ross.
No, you're right, but like
just what you would say if he didn't.
This is his love because he says
pig.
Yeah,
he's not the David Cameron in this situation. All right, that's all I'm saying.
But he says flat out, like, it's not the pigs that find the truffles; it's the vegetation that you see. And so, like, the whole like concept of I need this pig for my livelihood and stuff like that. That's something that he's outsmarted. And it's
just a companion pig or a companion pig. I don't know. I was trying to make
sure.
Service it worked in my head.
Yeah, you're trying to do a portmanteau for that, but it was more like a portmanteau. Well, I think that the thing that
portmanteau, as that's how Forrest case might actually.
And finally, new rule: if you're gonna portmanteau, how about portmanteau?
Don't.
Okay.
But like it's a narrative bait and switch to a certain degree, because like you're led to believe, oh, this dude does he just really like truffles? Like, what's his deal? Okay, emotional support bait. There you go.
Very true.
And then it's like, it has to do with the fact that he has put all his emotional stock into this creature that he spends his life with, and it so happens that he's able to like maintain these weird smelly sometimes I see something like that, I'm like, I'm sure glad there wasn't smell-o-vision, you know what I mean? Like that place cannot smell good, but like it's the emotional value of it. It's not the intrinsic monetary value. When everyone else is talking about money and like, again, like as you go to the Fight Club, like literally like, hey, here's this much if you can withstand this much. Like everything he offers. Arkin offers him. He raises up the offer up and up and up and up and up. And it's like 20 million. Haha, JK. Like where it's like there's got to be a price, and it's like, well, does there?
Well, I think that's part of it. So, in terms of processing their loss, you have Robin who replaces the loss of his wife with this pig and like this animal, and then you have Amir replaces the loss of the presence of his mom with this business pursuit and this concept of success and this act, and then you have Amir's dad who's replacing the loss of his wife with how some people process these sort of losses through spite and through hate and through like actions of like narcissism and stuff like that. So it's
accumulation of power for its own reward.
Exactly.
And
like
which is it's hollowed out at that point, right? Like it's nothing. There's nothing else behind it, which is kind of the same thing that I feel like Robin's trying to explain to that chef, which is like they don't even notice that you're there. Like in the same way that if you stopped financing restaurants by like all the restaurants in town or whatever and flooding them with money, someone else would just come along and say that's a great investment. So that when the chef freaks out and is like, well, who wants to invest in the pub? It's like, well, the emotional is the only thing that's really there. Like someone could just replace you as a chef or you as an owner of a restaurant within seconds. Like that, it's not going to collapse the economy of the town. Like you're not that good at it. You can't even cook the pasta correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As we established, which isn't like a effortless put down in the way that like the person doing the put down doesn't actually care about the results, which are the best kind. But just like because like because he goes from being like the king of his castle into being like just another one of the mob at that point, and that starts that whole scene where you just see his smile stays there, but like it stops touching the eyes, and it's incredible.
So that actor, how he was not nominated for even just that such short performance. I had never seen that dude before, but his face is forever burned in my brain as one of the most effective performances I've ever seen in a film. It floored me seeing that full scene.
Yeah, that dude's rad. Come on the show, that dude.
Yes,
I feel like I've seen that dude. Oh no, maybe not. Everything he's in, I haven't seen.
He's probably like a local regional Portland like theater actor or something.
Just like that guy.
Apparently he was in Turner and Hooch.
Who's in Total Recall? Am I looking at the same guy?
Wow. All
right. I don't think so because
we'll get our top researchers on it.
Wait,
anyway.
Which Total Recall? I think that's
Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The Total Recall. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, he played Ernie.
We don't tolerate hate speech.
Maybe that's where I saw him because we watched that last year. Yeah. So I have one more clip to play before we go to the letterbox one-liners, and then I feel like the after party will be fun. Are you gonna stick around for the after party, Ross?
I should be able to, yeah, unless all hell breaks out loose with the kids upstairs, then yeah.
All right, cool, because we get way more off topic on that. So
if you're like, hey, this is great, but it's too on topic, don't worry.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm already getting ready. I'm figuring out who Ernie is from Total Recall, and I'm ready to go.
All right, so this is the they're talking about
Doomsday Prepper. Jay Andrews preparing all his off-topic ammunition right now.
And I have several more clips for the after party, by the way, but I wanted to do this as the last one. This is the pignapping scene they're talking about. There was a thing that I found, and
I like that. I like how that was shot. I like the that could have gone a couple ways, and like I think that well, go ahead, play it.
I also like the line. It's just the coyotes, girl. Because it reminds me of we get coyotes all the time here, including like ones that almost grabbed Audrey recently. Like they tried to grab her from my mom's leash, and so like I've definitely like Audrey's freaked out before and like started barking at something, and I'm like, it's just the coyotes, girl. So I felt like that was my Nicolas Cage emotional support pig moment.
Oh, sweet.
Pig we actually found through Michael and I took some early scouts to Portland and toured a number of pig farms. And we found this breed of pig called the Kuni Kuni, which is a New Zealand breed. And this particular little girl was named Brandy, and just the cutest, most beautiful pig we had come across. And we decided to cast her as our lead, but she wasn't actually a trained movie pig. So she was just a pig living her life pleasantly out on a farm, and then got kind of sucked into this production. So it took a little bit of attempting to train the pig so she could, do the commands properly, but she ended up really working out great.
It wasn't exactly a creative choice. It was just that we couldn't afford an acting pig. But Brandy, she was very authentically a pig. So I think that comes across. I mean, she was not in the pig attack scene, the pig napping scene, as people have come to call it. But yeah, I mean, that scene was kind of an interesting meeting of lots of talents. That was Pat Scola, the DP, the cinematographer, who, just was like an Olympic athlete shooting that sequence, because it was all one long take. And he was just like doing the splits and getting all these crazy angles and having to keep up with all of the action.
DP landed. That wasn't him just doing gymnastics on the side. He was actually operating in that scene. And so when he had to like drop down with the camera for the moment that Nick kind of collapses. And so when he did that, he literally landed in like a perfect split. It was quite something.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, if you actually watch what's happening in the scene, there's a lot of like moving with Nick's perspective, so the camera will like tilt 180 degrees with him, and so it wasn't just kind of like following the action. Like, Pat was just right in there with it and falling on the ground sideways. I mean, it was kind of incredible that he nailed that so well.
Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a well shot scene. That could have been way more cliched, and it was not. It was badass.
Yeah, no, it was really just, it was intense too. Like really brings you in with that single shot, as opposed to a bunch of cuts, which I kind of hate. Like, that's why I love watching Chinese films, is because they have the fight scenes with like a one long take, and it's a good lesson to take away from that, to have a good, lay out the scenery,
have a good DP, know what you're shooting. I mean, like, I feel like people got addicted to the MTV edit for a while, and it has not aged well. Go to Hit Factory for that. Thank you.
Watch a trailer for literally any movie that came out between 2000 and 2003, and be like, that is the absolute worst editing decisions that ever. Every trailer looks the exact same.
You know exactly when that movie came out just by looking at it. Like,
like Existence. Love that movie. Like, very timeless in terms of like Cronenberg movies. The way the whole movie looks, but the trailer is so. Was this on like right? Was this done by the same person that edited the Scream 2 trailer? Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's like one person was like hired for all of these editing jobs, and it's like,
and he was like on so much coke, and just made so many cuts and decisions.
Well, they've differed in how to sell movies, I feel like, for a while, right? Like, because for a while they had like the not even like the in a world guy. They're just like, he's a guy that does this, and then it's like a little bit from the movie, and then it feels more like you're being told like, this is what the movie's about, you should go watch it, rather than like seeing it, which is, I think, more what we're doing, what people are doing now, where it's like, oh, I just saw a few minutes of like a crazy movie. Of course, now they kind of spoil like all the best moments for you. And
now there's like, here's the movie. It looks like this.
It's like single piano note, and then the entire synopsis of a movie is usually how most trailers play out these days.
I'm glad Marvel does that, but they actually films fake scenes for the trailers, which points for that. I know people
Anchorman did that.
about.
I love that. Yeah.
Art of the trailers are where
I would if I was like if I was making a lot of money as a director and I had like all the things in the world, I would hire people that aren't in the movie, like famous actors, to like have 1 second in the trailer, so that people are like, oh wow, that's
a lot of people in this.
And
it's
an
like,
all-star I didn't even see them once. I didn't even see Nicolas Cage in this movie at all.
That's funny.
I blinked. Did I miss Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, nope, I didn't. There's the syringe.
Carol Kane's in this? Wow.
Oh, she's in Star Trek now.
I saw. That's why I was thinking about Carol Kane. Yeah. Yes. Which I was like, my friend who.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, and some people are like, oh, I don't know, can she do it? I'm like, look, Tig Notaro was in Discovery, continues to be in Discovery, and honestly, probably one of the best characters.
She's a phenomenal actress, and like she's hilarious, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, did you see Gotham?
I have not.
Okay.
Save for the after party.
Yeah, honestly, only watch it for the performances. It's not a
Have
good
you
show.
seen the Harley? I'm going to channel Christina. Have you seen the Harley Quinn cartoon yet?
No, because I don't have HBO Plus.
It's
Oh, talk to me
It's
after this.
fantastic.
I can get you HBO Plus.
He's got a guy. Just don't ask him how he got it.
Okay.
I pay for it every month.
It's like how I got IFC for a year.
Guy.
Oh, I got an HBO Max guy.
You ready for those letterbox one-liners?
Call me from a burner and we'll get it sorted. Yeah, of course. Letterbox, of course, is a place for film. It is a social media site for film lovers to talk at, with, and to each other about the films they love, maybe the films that they didn't love, the films they were weirdly moved by, the films that they were weirdly horny for. All of these things, of course, best expressed.
Well, when I saw that pig, what else could I?
Best expressed. No Siskel's, no Eberts, bottom up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say. Best expressed in the working on your tight five in front of the brick wall comedy store. The classic one-liner format. These are the one-liners for the movie Pig. This might be Charlotte's Web for saddest pig movie. Not gonna lie.
Wow,
that is real.
It's a tie between this movie and Animal Farm.
Yes, that's sad in a different way.
Well, I guess they rewrote the Orwell novel to. Never mind. We'll talk about it after party.
Is there a Dark Babe reboot coming up? Oh, I can't speak today. Sorry. Anyway, I blew that anyway. Move on. You're making me crazy. You're making me crazy. God damn.
Oh,
yep. There you go,
man,
folks.
it's like a dog commercial joke.
I have a question, which is like, so the pig passed away spoiler alert, as they're moving it. Did what happened? Like, he didn't ever ask what happened to the body. Like, did he chop it up and like sell it for bacon? Like,
I don't know.
I guess he's better off not knowing.
Maybe he ate it at the where it was like smoked and like natural woods at that bougie place.
Well, if you leave it out long enough, it releases the tannins.
Yes.
Sometimes you the pig, sometimes you the bacon.
Yo, that's true though.
That is true.
That's nothing but facts on these letterbox one-liners.
Exactly. It's just statements of facts is this one.
Or bacon.
Taken, more like bacon. Am I right, ladies?
Okay, I legit love this one.
Yes.
I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you do, but I do have a plate of bacon. Where's my pig? Where's my pig? I'm very impressed with Nicolas Cage's ability to, and his own money was on the line, so I'm happy that he knew that and acted accordingly. Literally acted accordingly. His understated performance in this, he could have easily taken it over the top, and seeing the director and the producer, his other producer, that are like, very new at this, I don't think they would have been able to control over the top Nick Cage. So for him to actually have emotionally resonated with this enough to know that like there's a understated performance you have to do. I mean, I assume a lot of the directors he works for, when he does the full Nicolas Cage, they're usually coked out and like, this is a movie we're doing for a bunch of money. Like, we want Nicolas Cage to freak out. But I'm happy that they didn't do that in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the lore of, he says yes to pretty much anything that speaks to him in any which way, shape, or form. But he shows up
in a lot of debt. He has like a pet octopus.
Right. Yeah.
And all those dinosaur bones.
But from what I've understood is he shows up on set, and whatever he's doing, that's what you're getting. And like, if you're like, hey, we're not doing it that way, he's like, all right, then I'm out. And I think he's gone on record, Joe, which is a really good understated David Gordon Green movie. He always said that was the character he related to a lot the most up until this movie. And he's gone on record saying that Robin from Pig is the movie that he most identifies with as a character.
I have the clip where he explains why and stuff for the after party, I guess. But
cool.
I just love that like some people look at it like it's a downside, that like, oh, he's always taking stuff, he doesn't care about his brand or whatever. It's like, no, he likes doing it. He likes doing it, and he's good at it. We've been talking about in the movie. He is an artist, and oftentimes misunderstood, and kind of an enigma of sorts. But like, artists, do this weird shit because they are at heart weird people. I mean, we are weird people. He is a weird person, so
Yeah, makes sense.
Weird recognize weird, as they say.
And I have a great clip where he talks about the actor that played Amir, whose name's slipping my head right now, but Alex Wall, yeah. So I have a clip for the after party where they're talking about like how they resonated with each other and how he expected that Alex Wolff, after watching Hereditary, was going to like rein him in a way that he can actually like resonate with.
Nice. Rob Feld could kill 100 gangsters if he wanted, easy, but John Wick could never cook a killer meal to save everyone's life. That was good, because lots of John Wick mentioned in with this, so I appreciate people turning on their head and not just saying, "What if John Wick but food?" Yeah, all right, that's not clever, buddy. We get it.
I do appreciate that you're supposed to know that like Robin Feld throughout this movie is a person that you're supposed to like that is important, but that you don't know yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know the backstory to it, and I think that they do a good job not overstating it. Like, Robin Feld, the guy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like he's a Anthony Bourdain type in the way that he was like became super well known for one thing, and then another thing, it's just what he does is live in a shack with a pig instead of run around Singapore and whatever. But all right,
would it have been great if for the bear, instead of going from the best restaurant in the world to going to this tiny little hole in the wall Chicago beef sandwich place, he ended up going into the woods and had a relationship with the bear the same way that Nick Cage did.
But it was actually just a gay guy with a beard.
All right, Andy. I was worried I would enjoy this because I don't like truffles, but that turned out not to be the case.
Yeah, this isn't really a truffle-heavy movie. For
That's
all
that's
the
Andy Levy, everybody. So.
For all the truffle, for all the truffle lore that goes into it, right? Like when he's in the mirror and stuff. This is not a truffle heavy movie. I'm happy about that.
Andy does very deadpan humor. This is Lauren, so I don't normally pull feature guests of the show, except for it's very good. So this is good. If you love John Wick and you love First Cow and you hate capitalism, then Pig will be your favorite movie of the year.
I do indeed hate capitalism.
So that's our buddy Lauren, who was on what was it, Lady Bird? She was just on, right? We love Lauren.
Yeah,
Lady Bird, yeah.
This is on for Lady Bird.
I like this. First Cow is great. Capitalism not great, and John Wick is great too. So yeah,
there you go. check and check.
Why just 4 stars there? That doesn't make sense to me.
Lauren, you must answer for this.
Yeah, come back on the show. We'll have Ross and he'll grill her about that.
Pig is John Wick for A24 fans.
I back that.
Yeah. No lies detected.
The shooting style really is too, like like not focusing too much on the light. Like a lot of the scenes are incredibly like darkly lit. Like they're not afraid to do that. They're not afraid to change it up with that. Like they're not afraid to have weird lighting sources. I feel like that's a very A24
well, it's like Lamb was advertised as like, one of the most groundbreaking horror movies I saw. I was like, this is not a fucking horror movie. Like this is literally like a poem. And I was mad about the misrepresentation from the trailer to the movie. And this is very much the same thing. This is pitched as an action movie in the trailer, and it is very much a drama. And but this one works. Lamb,
I could just see some like film bro, like not film bro, but like some like frat bro like sitting in the theater or something watching this and being like, I came here for John Wick and now I'm like, I'm grieving my fucking dead father.
I didn't come here to feel things. By the way, I have Lamb on the DVR and I keep putting off watching it, but I'm
Lamb, First Cow, Pig, damn, there's so much barnyard.
It's a whole barnyard in here. It's crazy. Barat voice, my pig.
This is my pig.
At the end of the day, there's really nothing more to his life than the love shared between a man and his pig. It's true.
That's the lesson I took from the Muppet movie as well.
Yeah, well, hey, man.
Frog and his pig.
That's a frog and his pig. Like, we're not here to judge. Anyway, those are the letterbox one-liners for the movie Pig. Please follow the Forrest Miller experience here, Movie Night Extravaganza, host of your show. I, of course, am Conan Neutron. I'm all over that biz, and I do a lot of like lists and stuff. I'm kind of re-picked up the Criterion Challenge too, which is provided a lot of fodder for this show, frankly. And then, of course, J. Andrew, Chef Fighter World, is watching all the weirdest stuff, so you don't have to, but he still will attempt to get you to watch it.
Sometimes
and we love
it's
that
worth
about
it.
him. Sometimes it's worth it.
I'll find a gem.
Exactly. Ross, I think you made an account a long time ago, but I don't think you really use it, right? Or is that someone else who called themselves Rigs of Dad is named Ross?
What's that?
Check use for Letterboxd. Are you have, I feel like you have a Letterboxd.
Oh, that is me. I mean, it's more ghost. I usually just kind of like peruse critics and people whose opinions and curations I appreciate, but I haven't been as active as I like on my reviews. I do a lot of my review stuff on the Rigs of Dad Patreon page with Ian Miller.
Previous, it's not a cross examination. A simple no would be fine. But yeah, anyway,
we're not here to judge.
Okay,
we're not here to judge. Just to have a good time. Of course, Christina in absentia. I'm Christina doing all the Christina Oaks things. Reviewing the Johnny
You will
Depp
be back
movies.
on Tuesday talking about Midsummer, and you won't.
You're right. I'll be doing other things.
You have beef now because of the the Live Wild movie. You and Florence Pugh have
look.
That's the real story.
That's exactly. Yeah. That's pure after party material. But let's get into it. But of course, all the lovely people. I'm gonna start doing this at the end since the plugs are a million years long anyway. A lot of lovely people who are featured guests on this show do have Letterboxd accounts. If you go to my Letterboxd for the main list of it, you can kind of go and follow them. So follow everybody that, unless they're dead to us, follow them on Letterboxd. JNG World, take us away with the plugs, please.
Right now we are on YouTube, so please do the YouTube things: like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and the big ask is to watch the video to the end because that helps other movie fans find us, and you get to hear a great Conan Neutron song. So, it's a win-win. Really is. Follow us on Twitter at Movie Night Extra. We post clips
that one hasn't
of
been
the
taken
show.
down yet.
we have clips of the show, and you get to see some cool art. You get some other stuff. Also, if you're on Twitter and you want to join our Twitter community, we have a Twitter community where I think it's mostly me posting, but
it's 95% you posting. Yes.
Yes. But I do.
Maybe it will change someday, but
we're growing it. But like the fun thing is like I put up polls, which I forgot to do for this movie. And it's always interesting to see like how many people have actually seen the movie or not. So
especially people that are on the show. Thank you.
Yes. Because I think that's the only people answering it. It's like there are only 4 responses.
How many people are in this group? Okay.
29, but like 5 of them are like suspended Forrest accounts.
Too soon.
You should
actually not soon enough. Not soon enough. Yeah.
Do a poll best dish from the movie.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Or place you would most want to eat at from the movie.
That's why his show is way more popular than ours. Anyway, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, he gets the internet in ways we don't. We do have a Patreon where you can have access.
People do like to say where they like to eat in a movie. Like they're like, "Yo, I would eat there."
Indeed, and take pictures of their food. But yes, we have a Patreon, and with our Patreon, you get access to our after parties, and you get that access as long as you're a patron, or forever, in some people's case.
I mean, who knows what the way that Patreon's going? I guess they fired their entire cybersecurity team a couple days ago.
That's real.
Yeah, so they're not. So, but
right.
Presumably they don't, hire like Martin Shkreli or whatever the fuck how you pronounce his name
Farmer
Bro.
Yeah, Farmer Bro to like do their cybersecurity. We'll be on there.
Have they made a biopic of that guy? I hope they don't make a biopic of that guy.
I really hope they don't make a biopic of that guy. I really, really hope they don't.
I just hope somebody breaks into his house and steals that Wu-Tang album and releases it for the people. Because Wu-Tang is for the children.
He's the only guy less charismatic than Ben Shapiro that looks kind of like that.
Like if they go out of the town, like Ben Shapiro's the charismatic one.
See, this is why
this is after party material. Yeah, exactly. Well, hey.
But speaking of plugs, Conan.
The one time I engaged with a Ben Shapiro thing, and I was like, "What? Nothing? Okay, great."
You just had Toshi Kasai on Protonic Reversal.
Yes. Super producer Toshi Kasai, who also has the incredible Plan D and has done an incredible, kind of mostly acoustic, interesting bossa nova record.
It's really good.
And he is one of my favorite people. And I'm not just saying that because he produces all my stuff. He's just a joy. He's a very interesting. Anybody into music and creativity can, I think, get something out of that conversation. So,
Exactly.
of course, I think that's my fucking show. But anyway, that's great.
But you can get Dangerous Nomenclature on vinyl.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna pull it out. He's like, "Excuse me while I whip this out."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. We got it right here. So it's on vinyl.
Nice.
There it is. If you pre-ordered it, calm the fuck down. It's been shipped. And also thank you, but also calm the fuck down. Very excited. The video for the commuter that Mark Borchardt did is coming out Monday too.
Nice. Yes, former guest.
Friend
I
of the
had
show,
a
Mark
blast chatting with him.
He
But
is
that's
awesome.
a whole other story.
Sure is. Keep going.
Yes.
I'm
We
not made
also
out of
have,
time. Let's go.
Yeah, no. Action Chief.
See, it's funny because it's my plugs.
Well,
We were on my plugs. That's why that's funny. Everybody catch that? Right.
Yeah, we got the joke on it.
Thank you.
But yeah, Action
Sometimes
Chief.
it's better
just
if
the
you
solos.
explain it.
We keep plugging that. We'll plug it again. Action Chief, just the solos. I'll say that one more time. For those in the back, Action Chief, just the solos.
Kill it.
By
the way, the
Chief.
the tentative title of the second record, and this is all Joe Cannon, I can't take credit for it, our solo record, which I think is amazing. I'm like,
yeah, that's a good one.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of tour dates coming up. I know it starts off in SoCal, right? No, Nevada.
It's Las Vegas, Anaheim,
Las Vegas, and then,
Oakland.
Maybe I'll hang out with John Barber.
Shelter Cove, California,
that'd be fun.
Eugene, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Missoula, Casper, Wyoming, and Denver, Colorado. Yeah, that's right. I did it. Now
But yeah, no, he's got dates for the weirdos and
libation
McCluskey's. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I would say get
did not write
tickets
it
in
down.
advance. Get tickets in advance because like McCluskey reunion is like a huge fucking deal. Like,
Thank you,
huge
Ross.
deal.
I was trying to explain what a big deal this was, and the guy's like, "No, that's great. That's awesome."
I-
No, you don't understand that this is a big deal.
I love Future of the Left. Like I think just because I think the output is just phenomenal. But McCluskey getting back together is
It's pretty
absurd.
momentous.
It's huge. That is huge.
And the weirdos. I mean,
And where it is, yeah.
yeah.
Which, like I was saying, they got to play. We've got the neutron bomb. I'm right there. Come on.
They played with they played with Coldplay and the Muppets one time. I saw today when I typed in the weirdos. They were on a
Really?
Yeah, they
That's
had, like-
real?
yeah, that's real.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Okay.
I learned something new today. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Well, I'm honestly at a loss for words, which rarely happens in this show, as alert viewers will know.
Oh well, they were on Jimmy Fallon, I think.
Oh, we have Action Chief CDs too.
No
by the
wonder
way,
I
forgot
missed
to
it.
mention that.
Oh, nice. Action Chief CDs.
We got them. And if you order one, that they've gone out.
Yeah. And Christina's not here, but please check out her Twitch channel. It's always fantastic, always wonderful. To Christina on Twitch and on Twitter.
And Christina
Also, check
will
out-
be
support our Patreon.
Christina will be the role of Conan Neutron will be played by Christina Oakes. No, for the shows I'm out for, I think she's going to do Letterboxd one-liners. So I've talked to her about it. So I would be very interested to see how that turns out. But Christina is great, and we love her very much. So there you go.
And Ross has Rig of Dads, not Pig of Dads, which is a totally different show.
It's plural, first of all, so it's Rigs of Dad. You said Rig of Dad.
It's okay. See, wait, I wrote it down.
It took him, Ross. It took him like 4 shows to get just the solos as an album title.
By the way, I guess it wasn't really
There
the
we
weirdo.
go.
I wrote it down wrong, so it's my
It's just-
fault.
Perfect. I love it. Love it.
Coldplay created their own Muppet band called the Weirdos, I guess, to try to like capitalize.
Oh,
off
I
the
gotta say
success of
Coldplay and
Weirdos.
Weirdos. See, that was like that's weird. Okay.
So they made
Those.
they made an all Muppet band, but I was trying to like find something to plug the thing with, and then I guess it's a Coldplay thing that they fucking stole the name of it to do that on Jimmy Fallon. So I was wrong about that.
Coldplay.
Yeah.
How dare you.
Coldplay and Jimmy Fallon together, and I missed it. Wow. God damn.
It's a cavalcade of mediocrity. Anyway,
America's not winning with that. They're not trying their best to late night TV.
Ross, Rigs of Dad. Yeah.
Plug Rigs of Dad. Follow.
You
it
can
on
leave it to
Instagram.
Andy. We'll be here for like 20 more minutes. But yeah,
it's just follow Rigs of Dad on Instagram if you want really specific weird fiction about the glorious part of the country known as Pudgemont County that a lot of people forget about, overlooked part of the country.
people are talking about it more and more. Actually.
Yeah, it is. The divorce rate is 99%. It is just a beautiful part of land where divorce core is the main style of music. It is awesome. I do a podcast every week with previous guests on this show, Ian Miller of Kowloon Walled City, Strange Light, many other incredible bands. I think he's in 32 bands at the moment.
He's one of those guys. It was him and Rubalcaba from Hot Snakes and Earthless and all that, where I was like, I can't put every band on here. There'll be no room for anything other thing else. It's just that information. There's no way.
Yeah.
I got like 5 in. I felt pretty good about myself. I'm like, that's good.
Nice. And yeah, I mean, we do a podcast where we talk about films. We call it Film Basics with Bassists That Love Film because we both play bass, and there's really no more qualified people in the world than bass players to talk about film. So we do every week. We either do kind of, a lot of different ways of curating films. I think that so many people get sucked up in the algorithm of things, whether it's Netflix or Hulu suggesting you should watch this or something like that. I think like personal curation, as you said, Letterboxd. That is a perfect example. If you find the voices that you relate to and you curate your watch list on that, Edgar Wright is a fantastic person to kind of look at for curation. Conan, I mentioned to you the other day, you had like this tweet, and I'll put my favorite movie of the year. I was like,
oh yeah, that meme.
10 for 10, 10 for 10, like the same exact films, my favorite film. So
undefeated.
Yeah, great minds think alike. That's a fun one. We're also doing a deep dive on the VH1 short-lived television show Bands on the Run. We just did an episode today that I'm very
I want in.
Anxiously excited about, and
I do, but I want in.
Yeah, 100%. We just it's not out there yet. It'll be out in the episode that drops within the next week or two. But
we're doing a lot of driving. I'll listen to it.
Nice. We connected with Rachel of the band Harlow, and she will be coming on the podcast at some point to talk about this weird, fascinating television show. Yeah.
Legend. By the way, the podcast is good. I listen to it. I think it's actually one of the best movie shows. I mean, I know I've said that to you privately, but I'm saying it on our show.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
we turn this off and listen to that.
We do movies, but also for music dorks, there are regular interviews. It's
like a split between this show that I'm on and my show. It's kind of amazing. Of course, I like
it. Very much. Again, great minds think alike. But Evan Phelps from Holy Fawn was just on. Holy Fawn just put out an amazing record today that I absolutely love, and it was just awesome talking to him. And there's been some really great interviews with really fantastic musicians and creators. Riley Stearns was the first filmmaker we had on that
that was
very excited
awesome.
about.
And that actually made me seek out the other Riley Stearns movies, which thank you.
Oh, no, please watch Riley Stearns movies. I mean, it's such a unique, special, blunt voice in film that I wish there was a lot more of, because Duel fucking rips. And
I love Karen
Art of Self-Defense is like that's the
Art
sweet spot for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But thank you for having me on and letting me plug this nonsense.
Yeah, like I said, since Andy got the name of the show wrong, I figured I was kicking you. I wasn't going to get any better. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I'm only doing the plugs because nobody else was doing any kind of plugs, so I kind of stepped up, and it's a hot mess. But
is that like saying I'm not the stepdad? I'm the dad that stepped up.
Yes. That's me. I'm not the plugs guy. I'm just the plugs guy who stepped up.
That is such like a T-shirt you'd see at like a
that's where I got it from.
HGTV.
I thought you were going to say it on your page. I thought you see it on the Rigs of Dad Instagram page.
No, I got it from a picture of a T-shirt.
Nice.
With like a quilter in the background and like sandals and like board shorts and like I can paint a picture in my head right now.
But yeah, continuing on with Ross, we do these final thoughts. You just summarize anything you didn't get to say or anything you want to say. Of course, if you're coming off for the after party, then you got another hour to say whatever if you don't think of it right now. But yeah.
Me, the final.
Yeah, you go first because you're the guest.
On the movie as a whole, I mean, I could go on for another hour about this movie. This movie is incredible.
Well, don't keep it to like 2 minutes.
Don't honestly. Don't watch the trailer for this movie if you've never seen this movie. Watch this movie expecting kind of just a long therapy session of sorts in terms of how 3 different but very similar people wrestle with similar griefs, traumas, and everything. And if someone finds a way to describe a movie like this without the word meditation, I would love it if we just stopped doing that as a whole in terms of film critics immediately being like, this is a meditation on grief or trauma. Sadly, that's what this is, but I mean, it's beautiful
new
movie.
Rule,
Perfect.
people.
Yeah, new rule. We had a new rule today.
And finally,
no more fake band encores. That's my big number 1 rule that I've been pushing hardcore. No more fake band encores. Hate that shit.
Yeah, well, that's the please clap of like when you get on there, you're like, anybody want me to play more?
You want more?
Me to play more? Like, I think I see
I
a guy
thought
back
that was
there.
the Jeb Bush reference. The please.
No,
it was.
Yeah, but it's the please, like when he's like, like you finish your song or whatever, you finish your set, and then you're like,
should we go?
Encore? Should I?
I guess we gotta go.
There's a guy back there.
We know you're gonna play "Won't Get Fooled Again" or whatever it is. Like just fucking do it now, man. Jesus Christ!
Fictional bad name. Please clap.
Please clap. I love that.
There's probably a band called that, right? It has to be. I mean, that meme was like perfectly. But by the way, I love that. Like how just Jeb Bush got bodied in that election is one of the. I mean, we talked about that. I think on Vice, right? But like, I mean. There was nothing good about that.
Like 2 weeks ago, we talked about that on a random episode because I had just gone and voted, and then we just talked about that.
Doesn't matter. Still like it. I mean, like it couldn't have happened to like just a guy that became a laughing stock. That was like, oh, that guy. Oh, he's the one to watch out for. And it's just like, oh, he got dusted.
Somewhere there's a town where it's Ben Shapiro, Jeb Bush, Martin Shkreli, and they're roommates. And it's a show on starting on CBS
on Truth Social.
Yeah, OAN. Yeah.
I found Please Clap band from Portland. Is where they're from. From Portland.
Maybe I'll see if I can get him on the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, Conan.
Yeah. Look,
you're not going to be with us for a while, so I hope these final thoughts are 2 week worthy.
Yeah, they're going to satiate our soul with like the food of your mouth.
I want to hear this movie get deconstructed.
Look, much like our Lord, I will be with you always. But yeah, this is a tremendous story about a dude and his pig. It's also about being an artist and giving a damn about anything, and that's worth the ride just to see that. We talked about that scene earlier. That chef getting just excoriated in that soulless, expensive new age restaurant, and you get to see that smile just, like it just leaves his eyes, and he almost like psychically melts while it's happening, and it just reminds him of this English pub was what he really wanted to do, what he really wanted to open. And he becomes a mediocre prep cook in that scene, and it is astounding, and it's how I knew that this was real shit. Like I said, this was cinema at that point. I mean, you get to see something like that, which is a linchpin to the movie. It's almost like Jarmusch like in its patience, I would say, in a lot of ways, this movie. But I love that at any moment in time, you're like, oh, is it going to get crazy? Is it going to go all John Wick here? And like, I like the restraint for it. And it's the right move because it makes it a more special movie. And Cage is honestly just astounding here. I mean, this movie, it's about love. And some of it's like platonic love between a man and his pig. We adequately established that earlier on. But how can
pig?
but it also is about how it can be wrenched away from you at a moment's notice. It's very devastating. It's special, and we don't get a lot of things to really care about. Ugh. Yes, please. Yes, great film. Everyone should watch it. Don't watch the trailer, but watch the movie. I agree with Ross on that.
All right, Andy, don't take us too far off topic. We have an after party coming up. But let me get some final thoughts.
No, I mean, this movie. I just before the show, I got to see an exhibit of Leonard Bashkin.
Oh, awesome! You're already taking us off topic.
No. It's bringing this right back.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
Bringing it right back. But you know, I had lost a girlfriend and a comic book art museum in a matter of months, and I was in a depression, and his artwork actually inspired me to come out of that hole that I was in. And this movie, much like Bashkin's work, you know, at that low point in my life, you know, I was relating to it. Like I'm sitting there, you know, looking at his work, hearing his friend talk about the man's work. And it really was, you know, inspiration and the sorrow that I felt. And this isn't working, is it? I had it all worked out.
It is not. Okay, well, we're gonna go to the after party.
You know what, Andy? Look, man, we have fun here. I have a lot of fun at your expense as the audience's proxy, but I do love you, man. So just I want you to know that.
Yeah, no, there was this very serious though. Like I really was at kind of a low point. I hit like a creative lull. But something about Bashkin's artwork inspired me, and I think somehow like this movie Pig, you know, this quest that Nicolas Cage is on is partly, you know, about like sparking that same inspiration that once fueled him.
See, you got there, people. Lay off him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was coming.
I'm people. It's me. I'm people. Yeah.
Even the chat. I mean, the chat's getting in on it. It's fine. Leave them alone, people.
You know, in about 10 or so minutes, we'll be in the after party. You know, Movie Night Extravaganza. Like this video. Share it all around. You know, let it live. Unlike Queen Elizabeth, who of course is now dead. But my final words, my final quote on this is, I remember every meal I ever cooked. I remember every person I ever served.